I'm not gonna lie, I have not been this stressed out like ever. I think I'm going great from IGLing. Like I had a lot of talks with my friends and my parents, and I was like, I see myself being more happy with Valorant than with volleyball. My mom especially, like, knew nothing about gaming. She came with me, right, to Texas, and she thought we were gonna get like kidnapped or something.
No.
Yeah, I met my teammates, but I'm like, or I was like 10 years younger than like my next like youngest teammate. So it was like, I was like, bruh, like, what am I supposed to talk to you about?
What is up, everyone? Welcome back here to Valoranting. I just see in the chat Emily Cutie saying, hey, I only have 30 minutes left to complete the quiz, so we have to get in through the interview right away. So let's go ahead and introduce her. We actually do have Lace for Complexity joining us right now for our first interview of the show today. Lace, welcome to the show. It's been a while since I had an opportunity to speak with you, since I had an opportunity to play 10 minutes with you and own you with the sheriff. But now at this point, you're here at the Complexity compound, and were you awake? Because I heard that you usually wake up at 2 p.m.
Yeah. You know, getting out of bed this morning was rough. Like the new schedule, we got some early risers. I was like conked out. My teammate Powerpixel at like 7 a.m. was like, yo, I'm going to the facility. Anyone want to queue ranked? I'm like, bruh, I just went to bed. Like, I cannot queue with you. But yeah, it's really good to be here.
That's awesome.
I love
That's
talking
awesome.
to you guys, so.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for coming on for sure. Let's go ahead and get right into it. I think there's opportunities for us to know a lot more about you, Lace, going into your career, moving into Valorant, and how everything started and how things are now. Because, you know, 2 years ago when you first started playing this game, you probably didn't know anything about Valorant before, and then now here you are for Complexity. So let's talk about that journey. Getting into Valorant in the first place, or just gaming in general. Has gaming always been a passion for you? Because listening to your conversation with Jake or seeing what you tweeted over here, there I see 0 FPS games. Is this 8-Ball Yahoo like the Beards game, or how does that work?
Yeah, so like when I first started gaming, it was mostly like casually with my brothers, and they mostly played like sports games and stuff. So I never really like was into FPS until like Valorant, I guess. And yeah, I mean,
No, I was gonna say your brothers that have been always into sports. Were they also into real sports? Because I heard you're also
yeah.
like okay. So what were they playing in the past too?
They played basketball and hockey,
Okay,
and
and then
I mostly played volleyball. So we were like all
and
around kind of.
what got you into volleyball at this point?
It was like a school sport, like in my middle school, and I like enjoyed it a lot. So I started playing like more seriously, and that was kind of like my life before Valorant, I guess.
And you've also made it up to D1. So I'm a fucking noob when it comes down to like classes in terms of real sports. But look at this, D1 in volleyball and a 4.0 GPA. To being a DJ in Valorant that plays for 10 hours a day. So how did that turn into I wouldn't really necessarily call it a 180, because I'd like to still say that a career in esports is still very, very you could still feel very accomplished with that too. So what moved you away from Valorant to get into Valorant today?
Yeah, I mean, my parents might not say it's a big accomplishment, but I definitely, when like COVID hit, I also got injured for volleyball, so I had so much like free time on my hands, and you know, I needed like a new passion at the time for like a couple months, and luckily I had like an old laptop lying around, and I started getting into games. I think I started with like Among Us, and then like one of my friends, one of my friends from that like was playing Valorant, and they invited me to play, and yeah, it was really fun.
Awesome.
That is actually really cool, and the story that you have with volleyball as well, and those like traditional esports, even in your family. Do you think that also helps you, or like makes you competitive just naturally?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that has helped me a lot from sports is like learning. Oh, sorry, I'm like not focused.
Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good.
I don't know what's happening. I'm sorry. Okay.
You're good. You're good.
I think like one thing that's helped me a lot from sports is like knowing how to improve, I guess, and like improve quickly. I feel like that's one thing that you learn, like how to take coaching, how to like be open to like new things and like trying new things and seeing like what works for you, and like a lot of that applies in sports, and I think like bringing that into Valorant was really helpful.
And so I don't mean to take this like in a melancholy route or like slow things down, but obviously D1 prospect, what, at 16 years old, you're like a sophomore or a junior. and you're already looking to get offers then, you get injured and you kind of shift your life into Valorant. What was that like for you in kind of like that realization that, you are giving up
Mhm.
volleyball to pursue something else? What was that like for Lacey?
Honestly, it was like a really, really hard decision, and like there are definitely days where I miss it like a lot, like playing volleyball, all my old friends and stuff. It was hard. I remember there was one tournament where it was like the GC was on the same weekend, like the first GameChangers ever was like the same
Mhm.
weekend as like a big tournament for us. And like I kind of had to like think about it and be like,
Mm.
dude, like this is like a big like moment. Like, do I play like the
Right.
first ever GameChangers, or do I play like this big qualifier for like nationals, right, for volleyball? And I like had a lot of talks with my friends and my parents, and I was like, long term, like I see myself being more happy with Valorant than with
Mhm.
volleyball, and they like luckily they supported me. I know not like all parents are like 100% on board, but luckily they had like
That's
a
awesome.
lot of
That's
support for me. So yeah,
yeah.
that was a stressful time in my life for sure.
Go ahead, Dan. You wanted something to add on top of that too here.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about what you're telling us with your parents and the support. Kind of how was that transition? How long did they take to get or like understand Valorant? Do they understand it? I always love asking about this because my mom turned into the biggest Valorant fan. She watches Champions. She's like #1 crew Leviathan fan. So every time I hear like other parents being supportive, like I wouldn't know that story.
um, I mean, they've always been supportive at gaming, I guess. Like, well, it took a second, I guess, but they didn't really. They thought I was getting scammed, I guess. Like my mom, especially, like knew nothing about gaming, and she thought I was getting scammed until like our first ever boot camp where we like got announced, kinda. She came with me, right, to Texas, and she thought we were gonna get like kidnapped or something.
No.
And then, like we showed up at the complexity facility, and like we looked at each other, and she was like, "Oh wait, this is like legit and stuff. Like it's like a real thing."
That's
Um,
awesome. That's awesome. And then moving forward as well, because I wanted to maybe talk a bit about your conversation again with Jay Lucky. If you guys want to check that out,
mhm,
it's on Jay Lucky's YouTube too. But you were mentioning like moments of FOMO here and there because we just talked about the important decision you had to make switching
mhm,
out from not competing in volleyball anymore to go into Valorant, and then you also had the conversation with Jake saying like, there's some things that I might miss doing as a person of my age, like hanging out with friends in real life in person and stuff like that too. But here you are at your second or third boot camp at the complexity facility with your teammates. Now you actually have an opportunity to hang out with people in person rather than just online and stuff like that
mhm.
too, and seeing your
Mhm.
teammates. Um, has your angle changed now into that certain topic where you finally feel a little bit more comfortable in this type of like environment?
Yeah, for sure. I think the Astral Clash LAN that went on. I
Oh
think Tanner,
yes,
I
yes,
met you
yes.
there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think that was like one of the moments where I felt like more happy or like more at peace with my decision. Because before that,
Mm,
it was like all online, right? Like, yeah,
yes.
I met my teammates,
Yeah.
but I'm like, or I was like 10 years younger than like my next like youngest teammate. So it was like, I was like, Brad, like, what am I supposed to talk to you about? But I think definitely at the Astro Clash LAN, like meeting everyone, like having fun with them, I think like I definitely felt a lot better about being with
Hmm.
Valorant, at least like for my personal life.
Awesome.
Well, and so your teammates, right?
Hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think in early Game Changers, we had you on for an interview, and I think you had mentioned at the time that you had met Ali, who has kind of been the head of GX3 Girls Got
Hmm.
Game. Um, at the time of meeting her, you were a silver player, or uh,
Yeah.
so a silver player and meeting Ali, and now obviously where you are today. What can you attribute your rapid growth? Right, it's been a year, and you went from a silver player, taken under the wing of Ali Monster here on Twitter, and now you're playing at the highest level, and you're actually freaking winning tournaments, right? So how did you grow from just this silver gamer to where you are now?
Um, I definitely do. I think we talked about it a little bit, but um, kind of just like the mentality that like everyone else is better than you, and like like everyone has something that you can learn from, right? I feel like
Hmm.
if you go into like any conversation, like thinking you're right, or thinking that like you have something like up on someone else, and it's just like your growth is stunted, right? Like,
Mhm.
so I think like playing, like we would 5-stack 10-man every day, and like sometimes I would die first, and I would just be like, I'd be like, why did they make this play? Like after, like I would be watching people that like I knew were like much more talented than me at the time, and I would like watch them and be like, okay, what did they do here? Why did they do it? How can I do that, right? And I
Yeah.
think that helped a lot. Like doing that every day for like a year, I guess. I think you'll definitely, or I definitely improved a lot from that, and I appreciate like everyone that like put up with me when I was like dropping like single digits and all the 10 right? Like the last pick, you know? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna become the last pick now at this point. The next time we
No,
play
no,
a
no.
10-man, I don't think my shirt is gonna be as good compared to you anymore. But you just mentioned that motivation. I actually want to put that into context because you did mention that that portion with Jake Lucky as well as what gave you that motivation, or how do you stay motivated? So let's actually have a look at that real quick.
I think like one of the most motivating things for me was when we were at the coL facility and 100 Thieves was there too, or the guard was there, and like we scrimmed against them, and I was like, dude, I have a long way to go, you know? Like
Yeah.
I am nowhere near like what I can be or what anyone can be. So like there's no reason for me to be complacent before I've done anything. You know what I mean?
So looking at that, your motivation to always improve and always get better, right? You have this event coming up with the GameChangers too. And has that, how do you feel your growth has been since the last conversation with Jake Lucky compared to now in terms of your skill set and how ready you are to face against your opposition?
I definitely think I've improved. I definitely think I've improved in different ways than just like mechanics. So like
Mhm.
transitioning into like calling and stuff, I think it's definitely given me a different perspective. Right, like I used to be playing like a lot of chamber and like a lot of like fragging, I guess, and now I'm more like supportive, and I think it's given me like a different outlook on the game and stuff. And I definitely am like super excited to go against like the top teams in GameChangers just to see like how far I've come, because I remember like last time I played against Cena, I only played against them once, and I remember they like were like insane, and I just want to like play against them again and see how we do, because I'm pretty confident and I'm excited to play against like the top teams, you know?
Nice.
And I got to see you on the NRG tournament. You guys were doing insane. And also,
Yeah.
you said you haven't been playing for the longest time, but a lot of things have happened in the past year. How do you feel about the team itself right now? Because it looked so solid. I mean, we were talking about it with Tanner as well, like multiple times. You guys look insane. And that matchup that you were saying with Cloud9, with all those teams on the top, it seems like it's actually really, really possible for you guys to take.
Yeah, I feel like this team that we have right now, like everyone is so like individually talented. Oh god, I'm not focused. Everyone
Gucci,
is
don't worry
so
about it.
individually talented, I guess, and I'm like so confident in all my teammates to like make their own play, make the right play, like communicate with each other. Like I think our chemistry is like surprisingly good for how little we played together, and like every day we're improving, right? So
Mhm.
I'm excited to play against like the top teams, because I hope it'll be a good match at least.
So, and even from the energy tournament, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you've pivoted also from being a cracked out player to also being an IGL for the team now. So how has that transition been? Like, why did you decide to take the IGL role? And who mentors you into this so far?
So, I mean, when we Panini was actually IGLing,
Okay.
and unfortunately she left the team, so um, we kind of didn't have an IGL, and my mentality has always been like team first, right? And I
Mhm.
have not IGL'd, and I was not planning on ever IGLing, but at the time, like someone kind of had to do it, so um, we tried me IGLing for a couple of days, and we kind of just stuck with it. And
Mm.
I think our coach Sloth has done like a good job like supporting me through it, right? Like
Mhm,
I
mhm.
won't always, or I have definitely have not been making like the best calls, but I feel like every round like you can learn something, right? Like
Yeah.
but I definitely I'm not gonna lie, I have not been this stressed out like ever. I think I'm going gray from IGLing, like that shit has me like fucked up, bro.
Already?
Like
That young? Come
it's
on,
not
Lace.
good, bro. Like I be in the shower taking out gray hairs. I'm like, yo, like this cannot be good.
But that said, I think that's the issue too, right? Because if you're looking at the community, the type of the comments that you could get as an IGL, or the type of comments that anybody has when somebody starts IGLing, but they have so much potential to be a fragger, it hinders into their fragging capability. I'm going to take Nuke, for example, at G2. People are saying that as well, is that if Nuke does an IGL, he could actually frag so much better as well. Do you feel that kind of played into effect when you started IGLing too? And how do you manage that to make sure that you stay on top of your game in terms of fragging on top of that?
I guess like I've always felt like at the end of the day, like a win is a win, right? Like someone can like VLR check you or like look at your stats or whatever, but at the end of the day, like you're either winning or you're losing. So obviously like I want to get kills, right? Like anyone does, right? Like
Yeah.
it feels good. And I mean I try my best to I normally do like 10 to 15 like death matches a day just to try to stay on like my mechanics, I guess. But most of the time I'm thinking more about like what spots I can put like my fraggers in now. Like, you know, I gotta put like Claw and Keency in the best spots to like succeed. It's not really about like me at the end of the day, right? Like it's about the team. Like how can we win as a team? And that's definitely my main focus, is just putting everyone in like the best spots they can be in like each round. And like if like the kills come to me, they come to me, right? But I'm trying to it's definitely just like team first mentality for me at the moment.
Sounds good. That's
So, Claudia, yourself, Keency, Power Pixel, Kara, right? That's kind of the roster we're looking at right now. I think everything had gotten announced across the board. And I'm pretty sure I saw Ali kind of still in the mix as manager. She's obviously, again, kind of been your direct mentor in this situation. And even for Complexity, for all the players who have, you know, come into this Complexity roster, this GX3 roster, what role is she playing now for the squad? Does she still have a large voice for you guys?
She does. She just like she's still working full time, but she tries her best to be in there like every practice, right? Like I think she has I mean, at least for me, like I respect her so much, right? Like she definitely has like a lot of say or like input, I guess. Like especially like for discipline purposes, I feel like if we ever like aren't focused as like much as we can be, like she definitely comes in, like make sure we're all on like the same page and improving as much as we can be each day. So I appreciate her a lot for that.
Nice.
That's cool.
So, what is the energy of right now? Because you said you're boot camping, everyone is kind of playing together and getting ready for that GameChangers that's about to start. How are you guys feeling? How do you think that the new team, is coming together?
Sorry.
They're like, practice time, go.
Nah, coL's trying to play more ranked, bro. They're all addicted, bro. They're like
That's
actually all
amazing.
addicted.
Let's go.
I think the team is actually coming together super well. I mean, I'm excited to play in person. Like a couple of them haven't really played like on LAN before, so I think it's definitely gonna take a couple of days to get adjusted to. But I'm really excited for this tournament. It's kind of like the culmination of the year, and I think we're definitely all excited to like show what we can do, if that makes sense. Cause
Yeah.
I mean, at least for Complexity, like our results have been like pretty disappointing this year. So I think we want to end the year on like a strong note. You know what I mean? So I think we're like really looking forward to this event.
Awesome. And you were mentioning when you're actually trying to work on your mechanics and whatnot, doing 15 DMs a day. But I think also another thing about your mechanics is just how you use the abilities as well. And you had compliments coming in from Stark Show in the past too, going into your stream saying how good your Sky is and whatnot. So for someone such as you who's never played Valorant before, that found Valorant through Pokemon and decided to play, like, what were the first things that you decided to focus on? Was it like the aim? Was it movement? Was it abilities? How does it all blend together to be so cracked out within like a year?
I think one like really good thing about like starting something from complete scratch is you don't have any like bad habits, if that makes sense, right? Like you don't have anything that you have to unlearn. Like everything's like fresh, I guess. And I really tried to like emulate like the top level. Like obviously I was like silver, right? But I was still trying to do things the correct way, right? So I think learning like ability usage, and I feel like movement and aim. I did a lot of aim labs, like shout out aim lab, you know. Like, and then just a lot of deathmatch, and I think deathmatch helps like the most in my opinion. I feel like it's like the most like consistent like way to like make sure like you're peaking correctly. You know what I mean? Like you're holding
Mhm.
correctly. It's just very consistent, right? Because like in a game, like obviously like your utility is important, but
Yep.
at the end of the day, if you're not moving correctly, like at that like it doesn't really matter. But I
Yeah.
think like splitting it up between like deathmatch, aim lab, VOD review, and then some rank games in there, like I think it helped me a lot. Like learn the basics and then go further like with that and try to become more advanced and um like strong with my util and everything that comes with that,
Yeah.
right?
And well, advancement seems to be the kind of the name for the team right now. I want to ask about uh, the most recent event that we kind of got to see all of the roster changes take place between obviously complexity and the version X's, the X sets, the TSMs. Everybody's looking a little different, and they all get slammed together for the NRG Neon Dreams event. And
Mhm.
you guys beat the brakes off everybody. You guys shit on
So good.
everybody. Um, uh, Although there were two teams that didn't partake, right? Cloud9 wasn't
Mhm.
there, EG wasn't there.
Mhm.
How detrimental to them do you think that is not playing in those tournaments? Because like for Cloud9 White, you can probably make that argument that maybe they don't need to, but for Evil Geniuses, they they're still a team that need to be playing in these events because as we look at them, they're still third place, and the Shopify's are doing it. So how much stock do you put into that event in your guys' victory, seeing that those two teams weren't there, and how much do you think that hurts them for not being there?
For us, I think like the one thing that we really lacked was like tournament experience, right? So like at least for me, like I knew I needed to get into like a tournament situation, especially like calling and stuff. Like scrims is one thing, but like a tournament is way different, right? Like
Right.
in a scrim, like
Mm-hmm.
you're just trying to practice strats, right? Like you go into a scrim with like certain stuff that you want to work on, and then you just work on that, right? But in a tournament, it's about winning. So I knew like for me that I needed to like get into that environment. Um, I know like for EG, like they're super experienced, so maybe they like feel like they're like set on in that department, I guess, and maybe they're just like ironing out some like strats or some comps, right? Um, so I mean, I know they're like a really good team, and I'm sure they have like a game plan. So I wouldn't say anything like bad about them not participating. It's kind of up to them, right? Like what they need
Mhm.
to work on, and
Well, then yeah.
as long as they're getting their practice in, I think they're doing their jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And it starts for you guys this weekend. So on the 6th, 7th, the group stages are starting. And I think we're going through like a round robin this time, or like at
Mhm.
least a GSL bracket.
GSL, yeah.
And looking at your group, you're playing against Pterodactyl's team Solaire,
Mhm.
you have Ara Ara, and you have Zenity Crimson. How's that group looking for you guys? Who's the toughest competition? Anything to look out for too when you're preparing for these tournaments?
Yeah, I definitely am gonna try to like read up on the teams in our group. I actually was surprised. I saw Solaire in the GameChangers Academy finals, I think this past weekend. I was like pretty impressed by them, so I'm
Yeah,
excited to
yeah,
play
yeah.
against them. I know at least the core has been together for a while. I feel like I've been seeing them throughout like a lot of the events, and I don't think I've ever had the chance to play against them, so I'm excited. Like they're all nice people, so it should be a fun game at least.
Nice.
So you talked about kind of reading into them and looking it up. Now that you're in this IGL role, how much weight is on your shoulders for kind of VOD reviewing these teams? Or like what is your process, as we start in 2 days, Thursday. So what are you going to be looking to do headed into these matchups, right? What information are you, I guess, supposed to, because you do have a coach.
Yeah, yeah. Um, at least like this past event, I definitely um like reviewed before all the games we played just to like give a game plan, like general map pools, like what we think we'll play, right? Like I might I can't give away too much, right?
Yeah,
Like
don't give away too
hold
Of
on,
much.
hold
course, of
on
course.
now.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
um but I mean I think both me and my coach, we both like review all the games, and we normally come up with similar stuff. We compare like and we'll make like a few extra shots, right? If we think like we see something we can like exploit, we'll definitely prepare for that.
Mhm.
Like get an extra hour of like server time in before the match and make sure everything's looking good, right?
And one thing that I'm thinking of as well is I want to know how you specifically, and maybe your team as well, you take all those like early games that end up happening, maybe kind of taking it slow, just playing as well as you can, because we know a couple teams that have said it in kind of every level of Valorant. Some benefit really from a lot of experience playing in the tournament, even going to the losers and then coming up on top and getting more and more gameplay. And others, you want to play it safe. You want to give the least amount of information to the enemy team as possible. So, kind of what do you think is the approach that you're having for this?
I definitely think like we just gotta make sure we're like fundamental, especially in the early stages of the tournament. We can't take like any team for granted, right? Like that's
Yeah.
how like upsets happen. That's how like it starts to snowball, kind of like out of your control, right? Like 1 or 2 rounds, like you're like trolling a little bit, and then all of a sudden, right? Like it's like a tie game, right? Like you don't know, you're
Yeah.
losing, right? Like you don't know what's happening. So I definitely think, I mean, if we're like streamed and stuff, I'm sure we'll try to like, I mean, I don't know, like say some stuff. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say. um, but yeah, I definitely think like as long as we like focus on our fundamentals, like play together, keep the comms up. I think that's what we'll focus on the most. I think getting the
Mhm.
comms ready, like it's a big event, right? So maybe there's some nerves. I think like the first day or two, like we just want to make sure we're communicating well, we have the energy
Mhm.
up, and I think we'll try to take that into the rest of the event.
What's the schedule for you guys been like ever since the boot camp? So when did you guys arrive over at the complexity facility? What was day one, and what is the day like before going in? Like, is there like a training regiment, but from like working out and stuff like too? Because I know you were pretty strong and opinionated about good nutrition and working out in order to get a good focus. So tell me a little about the day for the team.
So people started getting here on Sunday, so we haven't been here for that long. Yesterday we took it kind of light because everyone was like flying in, so we played a few scrims. But today is like the day like we're starting to like go hard, I guess that you could say. So I think we have like 7 scrims scheduled today with like a break in between, and it's gonna be the same tomorrow too. So
Mm.
it should be like a lot of work, but I think it'll pay off, right? So it's all worth it. And then
Yeah, yeah.
for the training like regimen, I know a few people on my team go to the gym. I definitely like to walk. Like I think like getting your blood flowing at least, like walk or jog, like before you play is really important because I
Hmm.
don't know. Like I know a lot of people that are like super like sedentary a lot of the time, and like that maybe that works for some people, but at least for me, I know like if I'm not moving, like if I'm not like getting myself in that mindset that like it's a game time, I guess, like I know my performance, and like especially like once I started IGLing, like my like process time and like process like I guess like making good like decisions, like my decision making for sure like suffers if I'm not like feeling my best. So I definitely try to get like a walk or a jog in the morning.
So I got energy, right? We're kind of talking about
Hmm.
energy here. You obviously have a lot of it. Um, Lacey, I feel like, is known for the energy. Is there ever a time that you're kind of feeling down on yourself? And obviously, you've got a couple of new teammates that you're playing with. But if you are not the Lacey that we know and love, who is on the team that is kind of like that angel on your shoulder telling you like, hey, it's gonna be all right? Like who's helping you get that energy up, or is it just the Lacey show in that department?
I mean, I feel like everyone on my team is like, especially in tournament, I was surprised. Like everyone's like super positive. Everyone's like
Cool.
next round, which I like a lot. But I mean, I definitely broke a few eardrums, right? Like I'm screaming and stuff. So, like after a clutch, I'm hyping everyone up. Like
Yeah.
I'm definitely pretty loud. I think like I'm surprised. Like everyone on my team is like pretty calm and stuff. Like they're very like level headed. That's why I think I shake it up a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I love all my teammates. Like, I think we're pretty like level-headed and stuff, which I think is good. Like, we're all just about like the next round, like how can we improve? And I think that's like a really good thing to have in a team.
Okay, and then I got a small one. Now
Okay.
that you're outside of your element, right? Out on a different schedule, at a different place that's not home, do they have the peanut butter toast at the complexity facility? Are you still able to get at the very least your Lacey breakfast?
So I actually live here, so I'm staying like I can go to my apartment in the morning and make some toast.
No way.
So I knock on my door, I say what's up to my dad, and I make some peanut butter toast. It's good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay.
So still in your element in some place, way, shape, or form here by being able to go home and get your toast.
Yeah.
That said, though, I think also on a note of what's next here, not only with Game Changers, but also with Complexity. Because what are your thoughts also on Complexity not making it into the partnership program and having his hard decision to partially exit out of Valorant? And what's next here for you guys, Complexity? Were there any talks of like what's going on for Game Changers after this one as well?
I mean, for me, it was like actually really sad saying goodbye to the guys team. I
Mhm.
think like at least for us, we felt like they were like really like big supporters, and I mean, we were always like watching their games, like cheering them on, and like seeing like any team really at all, and like this like big like roster mania process like split up was like it's really sad to see. Um, I mean, I don't know exactly what Complexity's plans are. I know they like believe in us, and I hope they
Mhm.
continue to believe in us. And I mean, I hope to see like more rosters, more orgs come back in for the Ascension League, right? But
Yeah.
I'm not like 100% sure on what their plan is. But I guess
Yeah.
we'll see.
And even that said, I think it's more also on what's happening next for the Game Changer scene, right? So
Mhm.
after this finishes out in Berlin, what's going to happen in 2023 for the Game Changers? Is it going to
Mhm.
get into its own partnership program too? And
Yeah.
if that's the case, then hopefully we'll still get the continuation and the partnership between Complexity and GX3, something that that is hold dear to Alice as well. Yeah, I'm hoping for the best for you guys. Hoping for the best for Game Changers this weekend too, man.
Me
It's a
too.
big tournament coming
Yeah.
up. How far are you guys in terms of like the points and what you need to be able to qualify? Is it like a deep run that you need? Like what's going on here at this point? How much pressure does that bring on to you guys?
I think it's win or go home, honestly. Like straight up, I think we got a winner or we ain't going. You know what I mean? So I mean that's our goal, right? Like I think
Yeah.
anything short of winning would I mean I don't want to say disappointment, right? Like I love my teammates, but I feel like that's
Mhm.
definitely what we're shooting for, right? Like
Mhm. Makes
and I don't
sense.
know, I'm excited to play everyone. Like it's hard to say, right? We haven't played like
Mhm.
the definitely like what's ranked the tippity top of the teams, right? So I'm just excited to see how we shape up.
That's
And
awesome.
I hope everything goes well. I mean, I'm
For
confident
sure.
in this. So.
Hey man, it oozes confidence every time you come onto the show. So
Yep.
I fucking love having you on here, Lace. We wish you all the best
Thank
for
you.
you and Complexity for this weekend. Good luck with the IGLing too, and hopefully
Thank
you'll be able to realize that goal of winning Game Changers 3 and then going to Berlin for the world stage. So,
Thank
any
you.
final words you'd like to give to your fans, to your friends, to your family before we close this off here?
Not much. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's been so much fun. I love talking to you guys, and yeah, like hashtag coL win, like shout out Lenovo Legion, like all that good stuff. Like that Herman Miller be nice, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for having me. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you too. Great.
Thank you,
Good luck
Lacey.
with the boot camp and everything too.
Thank
That was
you.
Lace of Complexity, guys. We're going to go for a break because we have another interview coming up actually, and it's going to be with CF 10 Star to discuss things that has been going on through EMEA. So let's go ahead and take that break, and when we come back, see ya on the desk.